Let's talk about another subject, shall we? The Game Awards. Let's talk about more of the Game Awards, chat. Let's just talk about more of the Game Awards, you know? I'm kind of curious what Legendary Drops has to say about the Game Awards itself. I want to hear his opinion. I always love hearing other people's opinion about the Game Awards, the aftermath anyways. Not really not really during the thing, but usually the aftermath. Let's take a look.
This year's Game Awards were arguably the best that they've ever been. The music, the awards, the speeches, everything was on point. But the most poetic part about all of it is Sven Vinka going up on stage and effectively calling out the entire games industry, while at the exact same time, the two biggest reveals in The Witcher 4 and Intergalactic setting social media on fire. And rightfully so. See, while I disagree with some of the criticisms about those two trailers, and
yeah, I think the criticism for the Witcher one is kind of a little bit blown out of proportion in my personal opinion, right? I'm like, it's fucking Ciri, and she's older, you know, she's not as young and naive, you know. Just letting you know, humans age. I'm just saying, they don't look the same when they get older, you know. Well, you know, I'm just saying. I don't know. The Intergalactic one, it's the same thing. You know, I understand why people are like, at least the social media side, they're kind of like, you know, oh, she's that type of girl, you know, because she's bald, bald, you know. And for me, it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm not really a whole fan of the baldness personally. It's not really my cup of tea. Will I play the game? No, because it's probably gonna be on a Sony exclusive console first, and it's just not my cup of tea. Ever since what is it, The Last of Us Part 2, when the script got leaked and everyone was talking about it, of how dumbfounded they wrote the script and how everything just is bad in general, that's basically is where, because I played The Last of Us 1 and that was pretty much about it.
We're gonna get into that. This is the bed that the industry has made for itself. This reactionary audience, you created it. Now you need to lay with it. What did they expect? What did they think that was going to happen? Oh, they did actually know exactly what was going to happen, because they turned off the comments on Intergalactic's trailer before they put it out.
Wait, before they put it out, they actually turn off the comment sections? That's I didn't even know that. I thought they turned it off afterwards. Oh, that's crazy.
You know, if you can't see the criticism, that it doesn't exist, right? Actually, now that I think about it, that's pretty accurate, because if you can't see their comments, then they don't exist, and also neither does their money. See how that's going to work out for you. Well, I think a lot of people might think that
cowards indeed.
2025 is not going to be the best year in gaming. I think we've seen quite a lot of things that are going to be contrary to that belief. But with that said, today what I want to do is talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, the 2024 Game Awards. But before that, today's sponsor. The sponsor.
Oh my god, is a sponsorship? Wow, that's crazy, man. Oh man, this is absurd.
Hit that link below and start building your collection today. I need to put things into perspective for you guys, because 2024 has been an insane year for video games when you look back at it. We had Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Dragon's Dogma 2.
I didn't play Final Fantasy Rebirth because it was only available on a Sony exclusive, so that's the problem. You know, I couldn't say anything about Final Fantasy at the Game Awards.
Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, both World of
didn't play that.
Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV got expansion.
Didn't play any of those. Yeah.
Tekken 8, Unicorn.
Did play that. I wanna play Unicorn. I actually do want to play Unicorn Overlord.
Satisfactory, Persona 3 Reloaded.
Never played Satisfactory. I should probably play the Persona game, you know.
Metaphor ReFantazio, held.
Don't need to finish Metaphor.
Iris 2, Black Ops 6, Astrobot, Warhammer
Campaign.
Space Marine 2,
played it.
Silent Hill 2,
did not play it.
Human, Black Myth,
did not play it. Played it.
Marvel Rivals,
and played it.
Massive early access successes in Hades 2, Pal World, and Path of Exile 2. Honestly,
Pal World was definitely fucking fun. I still wanna play the new you know, the new expansion. It should have. I think Unicorn. I think Unicorn Overlord is a sleeper. I saw Sayun play it, and I was like, oh man, this game looks so fucking interesting. I want to play it so badly. But I did see it like a while ago with the trailers a while back about Unicorn Overlord on the Nintendo. What is it? Their announcement. They're like, what the fuck is it called? What do they do? Their fucking game announcements. Their fucking Nintendo Direct. There you go. That's what it's called. Fucking A, dude.
Honestly, I could keep going, but I'm running out of breath. It was an absolutely stacked year for games, and while there are only a few games that can
Words, chat, okay? Words are hard, okay? English is hard, okay, alright? English is not my first language, alright?
many of these studios walked away with fatter wallets as players showed up in mass to buy these games and play them. I think it's important to take the time to recognize that despite all the noise and despite all the drama that surrounds this industry at times, there are plenty of studios and plenty of games that are out there that are making games specifically for you. The games that did that better than anyone else are the ones that received awards this year, and in a lot of cases, given the nominees of each of the categories, anyone could be a winner. We saw Final Fantasy VII Rebirth walk away with Best Score in Music. A lot of people didn't even know this, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had 175 original soundtracks in the game. Almost every quest, side quest, or activity had its own original song. Whether it was
That's pretty crazy. I do have to say that's a pretty huge feat.
chocobo races, boss battles, playing a game of Queen's Blood, or simply walking a dog, there was a song for everything. Balatro took Best Indie and Mobile Game, Helldivers 2 took Best Multiplayer and then dropped a trailer showing off a new faction and vehicles, and the game's concurrent player number skyrocketed. Baldur's Gate 3 snagged Best Community Support,
Of
and
course.
Black Myth Wukong, despite the industry's attempts to suppress it, won both Player's Choice and Best Action Game, adding to the much-deserved...
Because we know that this game was the best of the year, you know? This should literally just came out of nowhere, this game itself, you know? The trailer just kind of dropped out of nowhere, and then when the game released, it was just so damn fun, you know?
recognition of game science following their Game of the Year or Ultimate Game of the Year win at the Golden Joysticks. Metaphor ReFantasio took Best Art Direction, whether it was the character designs, the beautiful vistas, the combat animations, world building elements, and enemy designs. The entire game oozed with style. Metaphor also won Best Narrative for quite honestly having the best narrative this year. While I'm working on another video for Metaphor specifically, it's one of the first games in a long time that's been able to tackle topics like diversity, religious persecution, classism, and world politics in a tasteful, thought-provoking, and holistic way.
I still want to continue it, of course, you know.
Far too many talentless developers and studios produce games where subtlety and nuance are foreign topics. Metaphor is a game that stands in direct contrast to that and actually respects their audience. Finally, the winner of both Best Game Direction and Game of the Year, to the surprise of many, including myself, was Astrobot. Now, out of the respect of the winner and my audience, I chose to actually download and give the game a shot, and I get it. It's bright and colorful, it has incredible fidelity and performance, and most of all, it's just fun as hell. The game is stuffed.
Yes, it's fun, but the question is it Game of the Year worthy? You know? Like, it may be fun, it's a good game and everything, you know? I'm not throwing shade at it or anything like that, you know? It could be a fun game. It could be a great game, you know? But the question is it actually Game of the Year contender or Game of the Year worthy, to better say, you know? That's the question I ask. Now, am I going to play this game? No, because I am not going to spend over $500 over a plastic box in order to play one single game, you know?
With secrets, warps, powers, and references to everything that makes PlayStation, PlayStation. It's a pure video game, and I really don't have a single bad thing to say about it.
It is, that's why I won Game of the Year. Yeah, but you haven't even played it, though.
Other than the fact that it's a console exclusive and not everybody is going to have the opportunity to play it. Well, it's great to see the best games this year recognized and our favorite games represented for the joy and value that they brought.
If it ever comes on PC, I'll play it. It's not like I'm not gonna play it. I'm just not gonna spend over $500 on a fucking plastic box, you know. Sony paid big bucks. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, actually, after they've been taking massive L's this year. You know, to be honest, they have been taking massive L's this year, so I wouldn't be surprised, in my personal opinion.
Brought to us, Sven Vinka of Larian
Speculation
Studios
at the end of the day.
show.
Take it as a grain of salt.
Simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make
I will be honest with you. This fucking speech was crazy to listen to again because I was listening to it again from the other people I usually watch and react and everything like that. And when I heard it again, right, I was just like, oh, I see. I see what he was trying to do.
make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets. And furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design.
Just when you thought Larian Studios couldn't be any better than they are, Sven Vinka is here to set the industry straight and in many ways represent the outcry from the players that we've had all year round. The path to making a game is so simple, yet it always keeps getting lost. It's crazy how developers who make the most beloved games, the most successful games, talk about how easy it is for them to make the decisions because
Oh yeah?
the game and the players at the forefront of what they do. It's just so refreshing to hear from somebody inside the games industry that isn't so ideologically captured that they ignore all sense of reason. Games fail because they weren't made for us or they weren't made with the developers in mind. They were made for ulterior motives, either projects that are completely fueled by investor interests or vehicles to drive their own morals or personal politics. An industry.
Yeah. You know, he is right. He is 100% correct. Because to be honest, the games are not being made for gamers. They're being made for a specific group of people who are mentally ill online, trying to cater for them, trying to bring them for the big bucks. Like at the end of the day, right? Like at what Asmongold said, right? Do you think companies care about the like LGBTQ plus thing? No, they really don't care. They just care about the money. That's all they care about. My problem with Astro is it feels like a corporate Sony game ad. Gameplay can be good, but it's mostly not memorable. It's technically their first. This is their second game. This is technically their second game. The first Astrobot game was more of a tech demo ad type of thing than the second game itself.
Industry that is rife with profit-sucking vampires who bring nothing to the creative industry or creatives that are bent on brainwashing an audience or seeking validation through a commercial product. In the end, what we saw at the Game Awards wasn't just a celebration of great games, it was a reflection of where the industry stands and where it's heading. The games that won and the ones that didn't serve as a reminder of what players truly value: creativity, respect for the audience, and dedication to making something meaningful and fun.
Yeah, because if you treat your audience as like stupid children at the end of the day, or just children in general, right? They're just not gonna like you, and they're just not gonna buy your products anymore. Of course, there's gonna be like a few minorities that will do that, but overall, the good majority of them will probably not buy the next game if you treat them like a kid or like a child in the game itself.
Studios like Larian, Game Science, and even now Team Asobi with Astrobot prove that when developers prioritize the game and its players, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
But the inverse is also true. When games are made for everyone except the players, made for ulterior motives, they fade into irrelevance. 2024 has been a shining example of how players are willing to support developers who understand and respect their audience, but it's also a great example of what happens to games, studios, and publishers when they turn their back on us. And that's the craziest thing about 2024. We've probably seen the biggest, the widest swings of the pendulum back and forth than we ever have in the history of video games. We saw Pal World, an indie release, break into insane sales numbers. We saw a AAA developer,
that is crazy,
first-time AAA developer, break Steam's concurrent player record of all time. We also saw 4 live service games shut down in the same year that they were released. We saw
oh man, dude, that's yeah. This year has been a pretty crazy year. I'm not gonna lie. Besides, like almost every single month, someone getting announced being a PDF file. The games that were coming out this year, the shutdowns for games that were live services getting shut down too.
Massive IPs in Star Wars and Dragon Age the Veilguard fail. We saw Concord and its studio shut down and shut its game down only a week or a little bit more than a week after its launch. While players have been incredibly lucky
That's
with some
crazy.
insane releases this year, this hot and cold, it's just not healthy for the industry. It's not healthy for the players. It's not healthy for the studios or for the developers or for anybody for that matter. And while not every single game can be Baldur's Gate 3 or Elden Ring or anything like that, not every studio can have a Sven Vinka, at the exact same time, we shouldn't have this situation in which we have developers that are out there, and studios specifically. I shouldn't say developers, the folks at the keyboards, folks working on the games usually aren't the ones, it's the leadership that are driving a lot of this stuff. But
What are you talking about? Concord 2 is Sony's new game. The Intergalactic game. That's Concord 2 right there. It's already been announced. What are you talking about?
we shouldn't have people that are out there that are making games for ulterior motives, that aren't making games with us in mind. And if we are in mind, the only reason we are is because it's how much they either hate us or how much they want to take from us. Any real change to this industry isn't going to come anytime soon, but change does happen. It takes a long time to make a video game. It takes even longer to change leadership or workplace.
Yeah, that's true. I talked to one of my friends or so he's part of the video game industry, right? And he works video games and everything. His theory, right? Because like he knows the ins and outs behind the scenes and everything. It's going to take a while for the video game industry to change back to where it was before in the past, where they actually made great games for gamers. You know, at this very moment, all of the projects that are being done right now, or has been in the works for the past, I'd say 4 to 5 years, right? Those were during the times of the during the development, during the whole weird social issue agenda that's happening right now, right? Even like all the games that are being worked on right now at this specific moment are still being made in the background, and then they'll probably be released in the future, right? So it's gonna be a while until but if they keep like I said, if they consistently, like, the players keep voting with their wallets and fight against it, they're gonna have to change. Like the whole industry themselves, at least for the Western side, anyways. Not really for the Eastern Asian side. The Eastern Asian side is completely going upwards compared to the Western side. All of them are going downwards, and if they don't change, the Asian market for video games are gonna take over, and the Western side are just going to be a laughing stock in the video game industry as a whole. Granted, they already are, right? But they're gonna be even worse if they don't change whatever their trajectory is going to a different one, where they actually cater to the gamers, the audiences, the customers, because the customers are always right at the end of the day. And if you decide to do something bad towards give them a shitty product, to the customers, do you think they're going to come back for, number 2, version number 2 of the game? No, they're probably not going to come back. They're not going to come back. They're going to go play one of the Eastern Asian games that have more better quality, more better gameplay, and more better story, and also the characters just don't look ugly, and that's pretty much it. So it's just that's just how it's going to be in general, because like even back then in the past, there were good characters in the past when it came to story wise, gameplay, and then just the look of the character. Like at the end of the day, different facial features look different for females and males. That's just it. It's just I don't know. I just can't seem to understand specifically what's wrong with the Western devs and their ideology of this shit, to be honest. For me personally, the Void is a little bit different, and we don't have this weird ideology. Even we can tell the difference from Cthulhu to fucking Shub, which is my sister, Like, we can tell the difference, Like the features, the facial features and the body features and everything,
Place culture or directives and ideals and all those kind of things. But that's what makes talking about these kind of things important, and it really makes voting with your wallet even more important. You have to make sure that you're making the right choices with the games that you're buying. Support the studios that need this support, because at the end of the day, that's how these studios start to listen.
Vote for your wallet, man. Vote with your wallet.
That's where I'm going to go.
Support the actual game devs that are, that respect you.
2024. 2025 ain't looking much different. We saw Mafia Old Country, Slay the Spire 2, Ninja Gaiden Rage Rebound, Borderlands 4, and a new Virtua Fighter, which we haven't seen that series in almost 20 years now. And
Dude, that's crazy. When Virtual Fighter got announced, I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" That was a pretty fucking crazy announcement. I'm glad that Virtual Fighter is coming back into the fighting scene. You know,
just when you thought that the reveals couldn't get any better, Capcom came out swinging. Not only did they
dude, Capcom literally slayed this fucking Game Awards, dude. It was literally Capcom's fucking moment, dude. Capcom is literally just destroying the fucking video game industry with some of these good IPs, especially like against the Western devs.
announced a new Onimusha, but they also revealed one of their most beloved classics in Okami. Now,
Dude, I want to pick up Okami so bad on PC and play Okami, the first game, anyways, on PC.
Okami is more of a game that's art than entertainment. It had really stunning ink painting aesthetics and emotionally resonant story. It still remains one of gaming's greatest cult classics. But on top of that, with the popularity of Capcom's
Freaking
recent releases,
Onimusha,
they've just been
dude.
absolutely killing it lately. Mix that with the interest and the success in Souls games and Ghost of Tsushima, Onimusha is bound to do well. It's a blend of samurai action and survival horror. It's basically Resident Evil with katanas and Japanese mythology. We're talking intense combat, gorgeous environments, gripping stories, and fans, including myself, have been begging for this game to return for over a decade.
I'm gonna be curious to see how they're gonna handle this IP, bringing it back into the modern age, you know, for gamers alike. Because we all know that the older gamers, right, the older gen gamers, they know how Onimusha is. So I'd be very curious to see if they'll respect the IP from like old players, right, bringing in back those old players that wanted Onimusha, and then also bringing a new fan base and a new crowd to make the Onimusha fan base even bigger than before, you know. And then hopefully we can get sequels too for Onimusha as well. And if this game does well, we will get sequels for this game.
Now, if they could only remember Dino Crisis. But speaking of dinosaurs, we got Turok. Yes, Turok is back. This one,
Dude,
absolutely
Turok
floored me. My
announcement.
friends and I
that shit was
lived
that shit
on
was a
this game.
wild one to
Essentially
to see
defined
that
an
one.
era of shooters with some of the most intricate level design and creative weapons that you've ever seen. I cannot wait to get my hands on a cerebral boar. Nothing beats watching enemies run around helplessly as a homing drill bores into their skull and mixes up their brains. Now, a standalone
That is
Elden
true.
Ring monster
The dev from Shadow of Colossus coming back to work on a new game. That was a pretty crazy fucking announcement too as well.
hunter
I'm telling you, dude, all the Asian devs, like all the Eastern Asian devs, they know what the fuck they're doing, dude. They care for their audiences and their gamers. Compared to the West Side, it's not really much happening right now. There's a lot of hate when it comes to game journalists, you know. Some of the game devs as well don't like working on guns apparently, you know. Some of them apparently have a heart attack when they're working on a gun, designing a gun and shit like that. They have these weird ideologies that are being implemented into the story, which makes no fucking sense, you know. And also like hating on white people apparently for some odd apparent reason, even though some of the women that are speaking about this are white as well. And then that one dude, that one lead art director from the what is it, from Avowed, saying that like, oh, if you're black or whatnot or a different color or nationality, you know, I am your white savior, you know, I can get you in for a job and everything like that. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you, dude? Why? Why are you even, why? Just stop, dude. It's just weird, bro. Honestly, I have to say, dude, the Western side is just mentally ill. Like 100%, it's meant. There's something wrong with these people mentally. I don't know how they're thinking like this and how they live on a normal, basic life. You know?
multiplayer roguelike was definitely not on my 2024 bingo card. However, this has to be the moment when somebody realized that you could deep fry just about anything. Oreos, pickles, cheesecake, ice cream, avocado. Why does the FromSoft formula sound so good next to just about anything? And given the studio's success record, it's hard to imagine this game not living up to players' expectations. I mean, I love Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Elden Ring. While I don't know what this multiplayer experience is going to be like, progression is probably the one thing that I'm skeptical.
I would totally love to play this with VTuber friends, but I don't have any VTuber friends, so.
Go on. I will tell you that some of the most fun that I've ever had playing a FromSoft game is the time that I've spent playing with my friends. Dark Souls 3 full co-op with Cinders and Convergence mod, Elden Ring with full co-op. Man, the idea of a full-blown Elden Ring experience designed specifically around multiplayer has my full attention. Now after this came the reveal of Witcher 4, and that's where things get spicy. The Witcher 4 set social media ablaze, many people voicing their concerns over Ciri being a Witcher, citing the source material, while others are believing that it was done for ulterior motives, and then you also had some people that just flat out thought the character looked ugly.
Didn't what like if I remember correctly, I remember hearing that that one of the endings for the Witcher game, at least from the Witcher 3, is that Ciri becomes a Witcher, right? Am I wrong or something? Hold up. I need to see this real quick. The good canon ending. In parentheses.
The gentleman will follow.
Report, 4th Kite Squadron. The Funsberg Division as a whole. Deserters.
Where's the cutscene at? Let me see.
He's at the
There's a lot of talking and everything.
Speak.
Ciri is dead.
How did it happen?
The White Cold. You're familiar with the prophecy? Ciri tried to stop it. She did, but paid the ultimate price.
Interesting. Granted, of course, this kind of spoils it for me, but, you know. Interesting. You start back where you played at the beginning of the game of this little bar tavern place. That's pretty cool. And then this is, I assume, this is where she gives.
Is it done?
Yes.
Did he believe you?
I have no idea.
For the cockatrice. And we've a new contract. It won't pay much, but I think it worth the toil.
You've been busy.
But there it is.
It's yours.
A witch's silver sword.
Like it?
There you go.
It's beautiful. May I?
There it
Not
is.
here.
There's the ending.
I'll have ample
And this is the canon
opportunity
ending,
soon
apparently.
enough, Witcher.
And this was uploaded 9 years ago. This is 9 years ago. This how old this thing is.
What's this inscription?
An old Witcher's motto. Had a sword like this once myself, but this one's better. Much better.
Who knows? Who knows? But still, at the end of the day, she got the gray sword from the Witcher, from Geralt himself. So he passes down the legacy to her.
Much of this was spurred on by the news, drama, and videos that were made.
Also, she doesn't look ugly as well. She looks fine as well. For those people who are saying that she looks ugly, I'm like, bro, she doesn't look that ugly. She looks fine, you know?
Exposing CD Projekt
I just wanted to
Red's
add that
hiring
little bit too as
practices,
well.
beliefs, and their alleged involvement with consultancy agencies while working on The Witcher 4. And honestly, I get it. The skepticism surrounding CD Projekt Red is valid. When a company makes decisions or takes actions outside of their games that raise red flags, it's only natural to question their motives. That is a pattern that we have seen across the industry, and it has led to a lot of mistrust. I can't fault
That's also
anyone
true.
for being cautious.
Yeah.
After all, we've been burned before. But at the same time, I think that we need to be careful to not overreach or jump to
But personally, what I care about the most if this game is actually optimized very well compared to, compared to our fun game, Cyberpunk 2077. Remember when that game was released on launch date? Jesus Christ.
conclusions without context. Ciri was always going to end up being the central character in the next game. She has been the heart of the Witcher series, the driving force behind Geralt's journey, the key to so many of the game's most important events, and a symbol, the symbol of the series' broader themes of family and destiny. Watching her story unfold, watching her grow over the years, it feels natural that we finally get to play as her in a meaningful way. I mean, the most popular ending of The Witcher 3 alludes to this. Now, luckily for us, CD Projekt Red has already responded to some of the criticism, and they want to calm people down. Following the Game Awards, both the director and executive producer for The Witcher 4 joined Skill Up on the Friends Per Second podcast to shed some light on their decisions and what players can expect. I'm going to summarize things as their English is a bit broken, but
Okay.
when they're talking about the trailer, they
Oh, yo, it's fucking, it's the dude from Gamer Ranks. Holy shit, he's right here.
take note that what we saw, design-wise, isn't finalized and is still in early production. It's only what they are aspiring towards. However, the assets that are used in the trailer are from the game. The trailer is meant to set our expectations of what Ciri is going to be capable of in the game and what the tone of the game is going to be. As many have astutely pointed out, even Geralt in cinematics didn't really match up to what was represented in game. This is likely going to be the same thing for The Witcher 4 with Ciri. They also revealed that the choice to make Ciri...
Like, it's just a rendered cinematic scene, you know? I really doubted it was, like, you know, I really doubted it was, like, exactly the, that's what she's gonna look like in the game, you know? So, I don't know. People jumping the ship so early over a cinematic cutscene was crazy.
Become a Witcher was made back when they were still developing The Witcher 3, quote saying, "In our hearts, in the way that we make the lore and everything, it's with full respect to the canon. With every decision, for example, the experience on the path of Ciri to become a Witcher, we made this choice 9 years ago. It's not just snap, she's a Witcher, it's very well thought out. Narrative is what we do best. Let us cook." Finally,
Yeah, of course. It takes a while to fucking make a story, like an actual good story, you know? It's not like overnight the story is done, and then they decided to make make her a Witcher, basically. It's just...
They go on to talk about learnings from Cyberpunk 2077 for quality control, saying that there is more accountability among staff and that they will play the game from the beginning rather than just trying to get it playable. Also, something that I found really interesting here is that they want players to be able to roleplay through combat after seeing how players responded to Cyberpunk 2077's changes to its talent tree and its dialogue options, meaning that we could see completely different gameplay or narrative outcomes if we are focusing on swordplay,
That's
magic,
interesting.
or Witcher abilities. What I'm going to say here is that ultimately it is up to CD Projekt Red to prove that this direction for The Witcher is an evolution born out of respect for the series.
That
and
is
its
very
fans,
true.
not external pressures or ulterior motives. The glimpses that we've seen thus far, combined with their statements about the narrative depth and quality control, show potential. But potential is all that is until we see the final product. I am cautiously optimistic. I know what the studio is capable of. The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 are brilliant games. I absolutely love them, and if they've truly...
One day I'll play Cyberpunk 2077 on stream. I'll probably mod it first, and then, you know, get like some of the good mods that is well worthy or so for the game itself, and then we'll play it like that, you know.
Learn from the past and their past mistakes. They have the tools to deliver something incredible here. But for now, all we can do is keep our expectations in check, let them cook, and remember, don't pre-order games. Let's wait to see if The Witcher 4 can rise to the occasion.
Never
or
pre-order
if it's
games.
gonna yet again be another lesson that the rest of the industry...
Unless you know for a confident fact that they are always going to consistently, you know, throw it out of the park. For me, the only game I would personally pre-order every single time is Monster Hunter. Because that formula is just so good. Why even bother changing it much at all, you know? Like, I think the formula for Monster Hunter, the core aspect of Monster Hunter is just good, you know? They haven't really changed much about it, you know? Because it's just fun. Compared to CD Projekt Red, when they released Cyberpunk 2077, number one, they lied that it can run pretty well on the other consoles, and then when the game came out, it was a complete shit show on console, especially on PC too as well.
And they can't afford to ignore. How in the hell is nobody talking about the fact that they didn't make Ciri look as strong as Geralt? That's huge here. When you go back and you watch that trailer, she has to use her entire body weight when she is using that chain to be able to choke the monster out. She's using her legs as leverage. She's rotating her entire body. Geralt likely wouldn't have had to do something like that. He would have just used his arms because, well, he was strong. Not to mention the fact that when she goes to chop the monster's head off, it takes 2 swings, and the second swing, she has to put her full body weight behind it to be able to get it to go all the way through. There is a lot of respect for the audience's intelligence there that's going underappreciated. And that alone gave me a lot more faith than I think a lot.
No, shut the fuck up, Dark. They're not adding a BR formula. Shut your bitch ass up.
A lot of people are giving to this game right now. And I think that's really important because in a lot of cases for games like this, the ones that we think are filled with a bunch of red flags, they don't have stuff like that in it.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm stoked to play as Ciri. I loved her as a character. I think she's awesome. And
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how they
it's not that I'm
handle
not
the
skeptical.
game.
CD Projekt Red has made a mighty tall order here. You're walking away from a beloved character. Everybody loves Geralt. And on top of that, they now have to explain how Ciri, one of the most powerful characters in all of fiction, is one, a witcher somehow.
That's
and
true.
Also, at the exact same time, doesn't have her elder blood powers. I mean, she literally has the power over space and time. How are you going to nerf her? Because that's a pretty big question to answer, my friend.
That is a pretty big. Maybe the only way to do it right is to even have the power scaling even higher. You know, like maybe you could be all this powerful, but technically on a bigger scale, you're technically weaker compared to other monsters. You know, maybe you could probably do that. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas at the end of the day. But who knows? We're gonna see how they balance her out because she's supposed to be overpowered as shit. If from what I remember playing a little bit as Ciri.
Taking creative liberties and messing around with beloved characters is a huge risk for a lot of franchises. And we've been burned by those things before in other media, in other games, and I'm not going to say that's not a risky move. But do you know what's even more risky? Taking a established studio that has spent most of their goodwill on remakes and remasters.
Yes, The Last of Us. The Last of Us remastered HD remake, Ultimate Edition Game of the Year.
And putting out a cringe-worthy main character in their new IP. Oh, and turning the comments off. Naughty Dog Part 2, the remake, remasters, and Intergalactic. The last big reveal of the Game Awards, and this one was a powder keg.
It was a pretty mid, pretty
we might
mid.
Be looking at a Star Wars Outlaws Part 2 situation here, but I don't know.
No, not a Star Wars Outlaw Part 2. It's a Concord 2. This is going to be a Concord 2 because remember, it's like a retro space kind of type of thing, the same way how Concord was. This is definitely going to be a Concord 2.
Oh, we'll see. This is a reaction that I feel I am not alone in. Now, I will say that I like the overall aesthetic and the themes of the game. Retro 80s sci-fi can go insanely hard if done well, especially when they say that they were inspired by Akira and Cowboy Bebop. And I can also recognize that when Naughty Dog is at their peak, they can deliver some incredible games. With that said, while there isn't much to go on, we don't even really know what kind of game this is, there is already so much that I do not like here. Now, this is more or less a true test for the real viewers that are out there. Maybe you guys have already picked out exactly
you think so?
what would really tick me off with this trailer, and it's product placement. The gateway drug to full-blown advertisements in video games, and likely one of the worst trends that we will ever see. It's a Sony game, so I'm not going to throw any shade for them marketing their own brand inside of a game. But Bold. And Adidas, this is how massive corporate entities will...
Because that's what she looks like. This is what she looks like. I think this is her. Maybe. I can't tell, to be honest. I assume this is... I don't know if this is like her or this is her entire crew.
continue to grow their profits. Making hundreds of millions of dollars off of a game isn't enough. Buying the game, buying the microtransactions, season passes, or DLC isn't enough. They are going to want that sweet, sweet advertiser money to line their pockets even further. Nakey Jakey, the GOAT himself, actually has an incredible video on specifically this subject, going over the evolution of product placement in video games and how at times it can actually add to the immersion. If I'm playing a driving game and I'm driving around a city, it's, well, good to see things that are familiar to me. If I'm playing a sports game and there are sponsored arena partitions, well, that feels like a natural part of the game, and in some ways it adds to the authenticity. However, what does a bright Adidas logo or a space Porsche have anything to do with anything other than unmasked corporate greed? I know that Sony has had a rough year, Concord really hurt bad, but this is a step way too far. Speaking of Concord, you would think that they would have learned or could at least recognize the telltale signs of something that wouldn't interest players or would unnecessarily divide their audience.
I'm gonna be honest with you, such a missed opportunity, and it should have been a single player game. Like a co-op 4-player single player game. That's what it should have been for Concord. That's what I thought it was. And I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. Is this a single player game? And then I found out it's a hero shooter. I'm like, yeah, nah, no thank you.
When I saw the main protagonist in Intergalactic, all I could think of was, this ain't it. Nothing about the
Concord
character is
2,
likable,
right
their
there.
attitude, their personality, or their design. I honestly don't know what is up with this modern obsession to force players into playing characters that a fraction of people are going to be interested in. As I said in the clip, this feels like another Star Wars Outlaws disaster or a Concord Part 2, which is incredibly sad to say. The reason why
I think it would have been fine if it was a single player game, in my personal opinion, with those cinematic cutscenes, like those really high budget cinematic cutscenes. I think it would have just done fine. It wouldn't do amazing, but it would do just fine. But unfortunately, they made it into a hero shooter, and that immediately turned me off instantly. I was just kind of like, yeah, no thank you.
I say it's sad is because this game could very well end up being great. Hell, an all-timer, but they are wittingly gatekeeping an audience because they want to ignore reality. They are purposefully doing this. They know it's wrong. They know it's the poor decision to make. They know it's going to divide the audience, and they prove.
Also, I'm gonna be honest with you. She's not attractive to me. I'm a girl, okay? I'm a woman, all right? I'm not a dude, and I can say this for a fact. As a woman, I do not find her attractive whatsoever. I'm just saying. It's not just only guys who like pretty women, you know? It's not just guys who like pretty women. Girls also like pretty women too. Okay? It's not just dudes. That's all I gotta say. It's just, you know. Bro, I've never been a dude. What the fuck are you talking about?
It by locking the comments of the trailer. Look, contrary to what players are saying on Twitter, we don't need every single female character in a video game to look like Eve from Stellar Blade.
Yeah, that's true. We don't need every single one of them, you know. Yes, chat. Girls like girls too as well. I'm gonna burst your bubble here.
What we do need is for them to be interesting, engaging, and most.
Oh, I'm sorry that I do not sound like a fucking e-girl that has a high-pitched voice every single time around here. Oh, I'm so sorry, you know. I wasn't born in the late 2000s, you know. I'm sorry that I ruined my voice a long time ago. Oh, man, dude. Yeah. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's a-okay. You got no worries about it. Like, I can honestly just generally care at the end of the day. I've always heard the joke that, like, you know, all female VTubers are basically dudes in their parents' basement. They're like 300-pound dudes who live in their parents' basements, and, you know, and all this other stuff.
Importantly,
I've heard of it.
The best characters, regardless of gender, are the ones that feel like they belong in the story, that they serve a purpose beyond diversity.
Oh yeah, and also just letting you know, privacy. I have other friends that sound like in the same vocal tone as I am too as well. They also have low, deep voices as well as females. We all don't sound the same, okay? That's all I gotta let you know. We all don't sound the same. My voice is just broken. As you can hear my voice cracking. It's broken. My voice is fucking completely broken, okay? From my stupidity in the past, it's broken. I personally, I'd rather have my old voice back, but that's just personal opinion. It took me a while for me to like my voice. I still don't like my voice, not a whole lot personally. I still hate it, even to this day, like to some degree. The e-girl voices can get annoying anyways. You sound great. Yeah, it can get annoying. Like, but like I just wish I would have had my old voice. That's all I sometimes miss it from time to time. That's all I gotta say, you know.
Diversity good, and look how inclusive we are. They should make players care about the journey, their struggles, and their growth, not just tolerate them because they're there. Now, the problem with Naughty Dog's choice in the protagonist for Intergalactic isn't just that the character feels unrelatable, there is an active dissonance between the audience that they are trying to reach and the character that they have presented. When I watched the trailer, I didn't see somebody that was compelling or intriguing. I saw a personality designed to polarize, to generate discourse, and to make a statement. But here's the
It does feel like it. It feels like she has that what's the word that they were using? Girl boss attitude? That's what they were describing her. Like she has like a girl boss attitude, kind of like what's that character? That one character from Forspoken. Apparently, that's what she kind of reminds me of. Is that girl from Forspoken? Like she has that kind of unlikable attitude.
truth. Players don't want a statement. We want a character who feels real, who pulls us into this world and makes us forget that.
No, I sound terrible, bro. Honestly, I sound like a fucking goblin.
That it's fiction. Instead, we're being handed someone who feels more like they are a caricature than a person. Eric Kane of Forbes, somebody that I frequently disagree with, but
also
overall really
welcome
enjoy
too as
his
well.
work. He's one of the very few journalists that are
Our
out there
Goblin
that
Queen.
doesn't just
Watch, I'm gonna do a collaboration with Goblin Slayer. You know.
ignore the elephant in the room and often will weigh in on both sides, but he ended up writing an article that was titled Naughty Dog's new game Intergalactic stirs up controversy with Concord comparisons. In it, he has this
Dude,
solid summary at
that
the
is
end.
so funny. It is so funny that they compare this shit to Concord, because that's what I literally called this Concord 2. Like straight up, no joke. She could be literally like the sister of what's her face. Let's pop her up. Let's pop up the Concord characters real quick. Hold on. Well, I forgot her name though. Concord characters. Right? So watch, if we look at the Concord characters, right? She literally, no joke, on swear on God, she literally looks like the sister of this character, dude. But like less attractive. What is it, Haymar? Is that her name? Is that literally her name, Haymar? Let me pull up. Let's pull up a bigger image real quick. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. She looks more attractive than fucking whatever the fuck this is. Dude, bro, people who told me that she does not look attractive told me I was crazy. And I'm like, no, she looks attractive. Like, she, out of the entire roster of Concord, she looks attractive, okay? Her clothes in general are not super great, right? Like, her clothes in general are not really super great, super amazing. I think that's where the fault lies in. But to be honest, I'd rather smash this, right, than this, in my personal opinion. Who wants to smash this? I know for a fact nobody wants to smash this. Now, who wants to smash that? I think that looks more better in my personal opinion. In my personal opinion, I'd rather smash her, you know? That's all I gotta say. Haymar, whatever her name is. Haymar. She just looks more interesting. She just looks more attractive. compared to the other girl, you know. Yeah, her clothing design was not great. I will give you that. It feels like she has like a bed sheet around her. That's literally it. She literally has like she literally took the bed sheet covers off her bed and decided to cover her up, you know? Like honestly, compared to this, you know? Just all you have to do, swap the clothes off of this and put it on this, and she would be probably like the best looking character on Concord, hands down. And she would probably look even like if you put her like even then, right? Her default design overall just looks so much better than her, you know? It just does. You cannot tell me she does not look better than this girl, okay? You are crazy. You're actually legit crazy if you think this character is also ugly on the same level as this character. You're actually crazy. Like straight up, no joke. I'm just not gonna argue with you. I'm just gonna walk away. That's pretty much it, you know?
Where he says, but I remain leery of the protagonist beyond her looks. The smarmy, know-it-all girl boss is the new grizzled white dude when it comes to
True. Have her as a main character would be better.
tiresome video game character tropes. Maybe that's not Jordan, but that's the vibe that I get. And like many other gamers, I'm tired of being preached at. And maybe that won't happen in Intergalactic, but it's a valid concern at this point when it comes to AAA Western video games. I don't mind political themes in games, but modern politics, whether right-wing identity politics or
reminds me of Aang. maybe she is the new Avatar, probably. Maybe this is probably an Avatar game, you know? Maybe they're just hiding, you know? Maybe they're just using Intergalactic as a hiding name, you know? And the entire time, she was the chosen one. She was the Avatar the entire time. She's on this planet to learn all 4 elements, you know? To become the next Avatar.
Social justice, identity politics, just break immersion and make a game feel instantly dated. And it really is just as simple as that. This looks like a game that is going to preach to me, and it's coming from a studio that is known for preaching to its audience. I know that the Twitter police, journalists, and game developers are gonna label this however they want, but the reality is simple.
She's water on water bender.
Games are undeniably art. They are also products.
I love it how you guys literally just ran that with a meme or so just because King says put water on water. Oh god, dude. Her wind power blew off her hair. Oh man, you might be right actually. Shit, man. I guess learning the air bending must have blew her hair off, you know?
That are designed for consumption. And this isn't
King is around.
Is going to appeal
He'll show
to a
up.
majority male consumer demographic, especially given the game's themes and what the gameplay is likely going to be like. Naughty Dog can double down on their vision all they want, but if players do not see themselves in this game, they will not show up for it. And when that happens, the blame won't be on the audience, it'll be on those who ignored them. What's really frustrating for me is that it's so difficult to have a genuine conversation around a topic like this, because the minute that something like this starts up, both sides of the argument start to virtue signal towards their respective audiences.
Yeah.
You have people that are retweeting images of Eve from Stellar Blade and upscaled images of Ciri, and then you have the other side that is only engaging with that mode of thought, believing that the people that are complaining or the people that have concerns are just people that want white men and hot chicks in video games. It's so intellectually dishonest, it's so frustrating, and it works against.
Yeah, but like hot chicks in anywhere always sells. Remember, sex always sells, no matter what. That is always the logic every single time. Sex will always sell. That's just how it is. That's how you guys have always been throughout like the dawn of time, you know? Sex sells, you know? It's obvious. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's literally, honestly, straight up nothing wrong with a beautiful woman in a video game, you know? There's straight up nothing wrong with it. I just don't see it, you know? I'm like, you know, it's fine if it's in there, you know? For me, it's not a deal breaker at the end of the day, right? It's not like I'm not gonna stop playing the game, you know? I'm like, not every woman needs to be like a 10 out of 10, right? And that's not what I'm saying. But I don't mind it if there's like 1, 2, or 3 hot ladies in the game itself, you know? No one wanna fuck me. But yeah, like I don't know. It's just like the problem is like it's just not that great, you know. Hey, Chaos. Wanna bet? Really?
It's the actual conversation that should be having because they couldn't be further from the truth. It's as simple as that. When I'm looking at this game, my issue with it is that it just doesn't have this cool factor that it should because the themes of the game are sick. And I'm getting these like Cowboy Bebop or Outlaw Star vibes, but instead of getting Spike Spiegel or Faye Valentine, we're getting a smug, snarky, Northern Californian art school dropout.
Yeah, yeah. The vibe of the character really didn't rub off very well, in my personal opinion. I think if her personality was a little bit different in the trailer, I think it'd be something different. Then we wouldn't have too much of a problem, in my personal opinion. I feel like the vibe of the character definitely doesn't resonate with me, personally. I don't know. That's just me though.
That's just not it. I'm just going to say it right there. Just not it. And, you know, I respect creative freedom. I respect them
Yeah.
to want to create whatever they want to create.
Yeah,
At the
fucking
exact
do whatever
same
you want,
time,
you know?
I know that this isn't out of creativity. This is out of activism. And activism, by its very nature, is divisive. It is bent on dividing people into camps to make a choice, to fight for whatever they're fighting for. And
Yeah.
in this case, you are doing that with other people's money. These developers are doing that with other people's money. The leadership of these companies are doing that with other people's money, whether that's PlayStation's money or even the players' money in this case. And that's what's upsetting about all of it. And when you're ignoring player feedback on something like this, and we've seen it across the board the entire year, we've seen everybody play ignorant to it. And we're just going to end up seeing something that's going to suffer the same fate as Concord. It's exactly what's going to happen again.
Dude, I would not be surprised if this game flops so hard, in my personal opinion. When does this game come out? They didn't announce the release date for this game, right? If I remember correctly. It's not announced, right?
You know, right after the Game Awards, I'm talking like minutes after the Game Awards, I ended up posting on Twitter and I asked about whether or not there was proof of a game that had, you know, AAA level success, but had a trailer that they had put out that nobody liked. It got downvoted into oblivion, that everybody couldn't stand it. And the only example that I got, and this is crazy, The Last of Us Part 2, which ended up selling 44 or 45% less copies than The Last of Us Part 1.
Oh, damn, that's crazy. Was it a roguelike? Is it a roguelike? I'm not even really sure what kind of game it is actually.
While that's not a failure, that is a trend. And it's not a good one. That's all I'm going to say on that.
If it sold less in The Last of Us 2, right? Like The Last of Us 2 sold like 40 to 30% less than the original one. I feel like this one is definitely going to sell even far less, in my personal opinion. That is pretty crazy though. Yeah, I've never played The Last of Us 2 and I never will, you know? Because I think personally it's kind of like, yeah, not really my cup of tea. So even then we didn't. You want to know something? You want to know the funny thing about it too? They, instead of putting the original Last of Us 2 on PC, apparently we got a remaster for The Last of Us 2 for PC. That's what Dark said. He pointed that out. He said, wow, we got a remastered of The Last of Us before we even got the original on PC. Like I said, it was a pretty funny. I didn't realize it because I thought The Last of Us 2 was already on PC, but apparently it's not. So it's just kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. You can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. Yeah, honestly, it'll probably be like Dragon Age Veilguard. Oh, dude, I cannot wait to see the Steam numbers on that game when it comes out on PC. I cannot wait to see the Steam numbers. And also, if I don't know if this game is going to be Sony exclusive or it's going to be or it's going to be whatchamacallit, um PC and console. I'd be curious to see if they're gonna do both of them. Who knows? But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm personally not gonna play it. Not really my type of thing. But yeah, that's it. Naughty Dog kind of lost me after, you know, the leak or so of The Last of Us 2 when the script got leaked. Yeah, right after that, I just never wanted to, never bothered picking it up, never played it. I actually watched PewDiePie play The Last of Us 2. He literally uninstalled the game, which is the crazy thing about it. He did not enjoy playing The Last of Us 2. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video, and peace.